Time for Pet Talk with Dr. Jen Klabunde with Northwood Animal Hospital. This morning talking about a deadly disease that cats and dogs can get, and that's rabies, of course.
Right. Rabies is very serious. In most cities and counties and states, it's required for your pets to be rabies vaccinated because if they get it, it's 100% fatal to both them and to us.
And usually when you bring your kitten or puppy in, those are one of the first vaccines that vets will give the animal.
It is. The animal has to be over 12 weeks old to get their rabies vaccine. So these little guys are too young to get their rabies vaccine, but they will be ready in about a week. So we do have to make sure they're the right age, but absolutely that's a core vaccine that they get. Depending on how old your pet is, it can either be a 1-year or a 3-year vaccine. So that all depends on your vet and their requirements. But it is something that needs to be done throughout their life.
And looking just right here in northern Michigan, some of the animals that can actually transmit the rabies virus. I'm sorry, is it a virus or would you say disease?
Either one.
Either one.
But rabies is a virus.
And it would be from bats primarily?
Primarily in Michigan, it's bats. Most bats that are floating around, flying around, are rabies positive. And bat cases account for, the figures in Michigan are between 65 to 100% of human cases are transmitted by bats around here.
Also raccoons, skunks?
Yep, skunk and fox are the next two common ones here in northern Michigan. Raccoons, very, very rarely. As far as I could tell, there's only been 2 cases of transmission of rabies from raccoon to people, but it's happened.
It's happened.
But rabies is transmitted by different pets depending on where you live in the country. So in this part of the country, it's bat, skunk, and fox.
And how is it transmitted? Would it be if the bat came up, flew down, bit the cat, bit the dog?
Yep, a bat, all you have to do is come into contact with their bodily fluids.
Okay.
So obviously a bite wound is the #1 way to get it because you've got the saliva in there mixed with blood. Both are very, very good spots for the virus to live. It's very easily transmitted. There have been a few cases in this country where spelunkers, people who are cave climbing, have gotten it because of a really dense bat population in that cave. So it can be gotten through inhalation, but most of the time it's through bodily fluids, primarily bite wounds.
So obviously, Dr. Klabunde, critical to get this vaccine because if you don't, this is deadly.
Correct.
And I also want to mention, too, these little guys right here, you have Phil, I have Carl, both through AC Paw. They're up for adoption.
They are up for adoption. They're almost 12 weeks old. They're ready to go. They're very friendly.
Oh, they're adorable. They're so calm. They haven't even really meowed since you were here.
No, they haven't at all.
And people, best thing to do, contact Northwood Animal Hospital or AC Paw?
Either or.
Either or. Okay. Yeah. We're going to have another segment coming up talking more about rabies and how to prevent it with your dog or your cat. Thank you so much, Dr. Klabunde.
Thanks.
It's another installment of Pet Talk. And that was so funny. As soon as we came on air,
he's playing with his tail.
That's Phil playing with his tail. In fact, we might as well just, the elephant in the room, we might as well just talk about who we have here and then get into our segment. Jen, who are you holding? Obviously Phil, and why is he here?
I'm holding Phil, and this is his brother Carl.
Oh.
And these two they're about 12 weeks old. They're ready for adoption this Saturday. They're available through AC Paw. Very cute.
That
already
is darling.
neutered.
You see that? Yeah.
Quite playful.
They've been so mellowed today, and I have Carl in my hands, and he's just taking it all in.
He is. They were completely relaxed until about 10 seconds ago.
Pretty much, yeah. As soon as we heard 10 seconds to go.
Until he found his tail.
And so, so the topic today, like we mentioned, rabies, and so, and what would happen to your pet if they contract this disease or virus?
Well, like in these guys, it's going to be crucial for them to get their rabies vaccine here probably in the next week.
Okay.
Because we don't want them to get rabies. If they get rabies, it's 100% fatal. They die. 100% of the time. It's a big deal. And it is out there. I mean, it's out there in bats. It's out there in skunks. It's out there in fox. Cats love to play with bats. I mean, they just love it. We've seen it many times. Okay. My own cat played with a bat actually that was positive for rabies. So, it's out there, and we just need to make sure that they're protected. Okay. If your pet is bit and they're not up to date on their rabies vaccine, they're going to undergo a 10-day mandatory quarantine. We prefer that this is done at a vet hospital just in case they really are positive so that we can take the proper precautions. But in that 10-day quarantine, we're looking for signs of rabies, and if they exhibit signs of rabies, then we euthanize. If a person is bit, or by a non-vaccinated pet, or if they touch an animal that is likely to have rabies, such as that bat in my garage,
Sure.
then you have the choice. You either risk it, or you go into the ER and you get your post-exposure rabies vaccinations, which is not fun. It's a whole series of vaccines, and that's what my husband had to do because he did touch a positive bat. So not fun. Just
No.
vaccinate your pets, and you don't even have to worry about this.
Right. Yeah. Probably the best piece of advice this morning. Just
Yeah.
take care of those shots. Yeah.
Yeah, and because it's such a big deal,
Go ahead, Jen. Yeah.
Well, we're hosting, again, this is the second year that Northwood's hosting a discounted rabies vaccine clinic. And this is something that 100% of the funds are going towards animals that need it here in town, very local. And the rabies vaccines are going to be 20, microchipping is 30. This is a huge savings from what you would normally pay. So
Okay.
we're just trying to get more pets vaccinated, more pets microchipped, and keep everybody safe. And then at the same time, donating those funds to pets that really need it. So,
And if people aren't aware of where you're located, if you let
we
people
are
know.
located between Interlochen and Chums Corners, more towards the Interlochen side, on the north side of the road. Big green building, can't miss it. We'd like you to call for appointments,
Sure.
just so that you get in and out quicker, because last year there was quite a line, and very few actually had an appointment. So everybody waited for a while. So
Sure.
make an appointment, we'll get you in quicker.
Good advice. Thanks so much for
Yeah.
your time, Jen.
Thanks.